Hey everyone, Suzy here from Adventurous Real Estate Investors. So today I am coming from the clubhouse at one of our properties. So I know it's kind of a bit of a change of scenery, but today I'm going to talk to you about the key roles in a real estate syndication and kind of what each role, what their responsibility is. I know at the beginning of my journey, I was hearing a bunch of terms being thrown around, a bunch of acronyms, and I didn't know what they meant. And sometimes it was overwhelming or even hard to follow the conversation. You know, when you hear GP, LP, PMs, KPs, brokers, lenders, who are all of these people? In what order do they come into the deal? How does it all work? So today I hope to bring a little bit of clarification for you. So the first, person in a syndication that I want to talk about is the real estate broker. So the real estate broker is the person or team that brings the apartment for sale. Whether it's listing off market where only a handful of general partners know about it and it's not publicly listed, or if it's on market. So real estate broker, the relationship with the broker is super crucial for the general partnership team, because the broker is who is the liaison between the seller and the buyer, and they are part of that entire acquisition process. So you really want it to go as smooth as possible. So even just having a great real estate broker on your team will help make that process more smooth, and that makes a world of a difference, because sometimes an acquisition or the time it takes to just buy the piece of real estate could take 3 months, but sometimes it could take 6 months, and sometimes it can take a year. So you really want that broker just to be a key part of your team, and you just want to have a great relationship with that individual. So the second role I want to talk about is a lender. So the lender is the biggest money partner in a real estate syndication, and that's because they are providing the loan for the asset. So the lender will do their own due diligence on the property, because they're not just going to give money to anyone or anything, right? They want to underwrite it. They want an appraisal done. They want to make sure that the asset that a general partnership team wants to buy is worth what they're paying for. And it's just super important that even working with your lender is as smooth as possible, right? Because they are the biggest money partner, like I said, and you don't want the lender to fall through at any time of the acquisition process, because then you have to start all over, and that can sometimes be really, really stressful. And so the lender is also a very big part in the whole syndication. So the next set of people in a real estate syndication is the general partners. And so they are the team that leads the real estate syndication deal. And they're the ones who are pretty much orchestrating the entire thing. They lead the acquisition of the property all the way till closing. And then 99.9% of the time, they are also the ones asset managing after closing and then through the life of the entire deal, right? So the general partners work with the real estate broker to acquire the asset, and they also work with the lender to secure the loan for the property. So sometimes the general partnership team can include both sponsors and operators, and sometimes they're even the same people. So I know that might seem even more confusing, right? There's multiple names. What does this all mean? But so the sponsors are the people who are signing on the dotted line for the loan. And the sponsors are also involved during the acquisition part and the underwriting part. And then the operators, so this is how they can also be different, are the people who are managing and overseeing the day-to-day operations. And they're responsible for executing the business plan. And they work with the property manager just to make sure that the renovations are going according to schedule and budget. And so they play the big role, right? This is their daytime job. It is a full-time job to be a general partner, because you want to make sure that these acquisitions are going smoothly. This isn't a, role where you're only brought in part of the time. You are there the entire time. You are the lead of this entire project. And so it is a full-time job. You're getting very messy. Granted, why I'm at a property right now, right? Because I have to be here helping with renovations right now. And that is a whole other story. But like if you have to be at our property, but you also have another job, that can kind of get messy sometimes. And so it is a full-time role. It can take weekends, it can take nights, can take mornings, or it can take just your regular 40 hours a week. And so being a general partner is huge and it is a big time commitment. But so to go to a key principle. So for commercial loan with the lender, so a sponsor may be required to show like a certain amount of personal liquidity or net worth. So if something were to go wrong, fingers crossed it doesn't, it hardly does, but if it does, because this is life, right? Like nobody can predict any part of the future or what the real estate world is gonna do. The lender knows that the sponsor, the one who signed on the dotted line, has some capital that they can put in the property to keep it afloat, right? Because it's not like immediately the lender is gonna say like, we're yanking it from you, you don't get any chances. They put a lot of provisions in place so that it doesn't have to get to that point. Another thing that a sponsor can do, like I said, is meet that net worth requirement and also sign on the loan. So like I said, like they could be different and not part of the general partnership team at all. They can be the person who just helps guarantee the loan in case anything happens. So my favorite and the most important part of the entire deal is a passive investor or an LP or a limited partner, right? A lot of different ways that you can explain passive investor, and that's you. And I say that you are most the important part, and you're my favorite group of people because you are the ones who invest your money in the project, like in exchange, a share of the project, but you don't have to worry about any of the stress. You don't have to come to the property ever if it needs help. You are the ones who get the investor updates. You are the one who like just wait for that mailbox money or that quarterly check. You are in this deal to sit back and relax and collect that ongoing passive cash flow. So do you kind of see why this is my favorite group? Because me personally, because I am a general partner, my goal is to just be a passive investor one day. I don't want to have to be active forever. I don't want this to be my job forever. Like I would love to be a passive investor just full time, right? I am also a passive investor in other deals. So the power of it is super strong and it's super important. And like a lender, without passive investors, we can't close on deals. And so it's super, super important that you are a part of it. And it's just cool because all of us then together, it's not just one or two or three people, right? It could potentially be 20 people who are all in this apartment community together, knowing that we're creating an impact. And that is also one of my favorite parts, is that so many people are along the ride to make these communities better, because that's the most important part too. So then a property manager. Woo, I love our property manager. Words really can't explain. And I say that because it also took us a while to find our property manager. We didn't just go with the first one we interviewed or the first one that we were told about. It took us 5 or 6 interviews with different property managers to know that they were actually a partner in our deal, to know that they had the same values as us, to know that they wanted to run the property the same way that we did. And so they're like the boots on the ground team that executes the renovations and the other parts of the business plan, right? And even right now, I'm where the property manager would be Monday through Friday, right? This is the clubhouse. This is where the property manager is. Like, it is super important. They are on the ground. Like if I look this way, I see apartments in the pool. If I look that way, there are more apartments. Like they are here all the time. Like they're working closely together with the residents and they're working really closely with the general partnership team, right? Like we have weekly meetings via Zoom. We use a project management software with our property manager. I mean, a lot of times we are chatting just back and forth daily, because we need to make sure that the deal is going according to plan, right? Like we have to make sure that the passive investors, the LP like you, are getting the projected returns, and that if there is any unexpected surprises along the way, the property manager is here to deal with it immediately. But then the final partner in a real estate syndication is me. And I just say that like adventurous real estate investors, right? Like we are part of the general partnership team. There are more than just Michael and myself. We have other people on that team, but like Our main role, along with many other things, is like to lead on investor relations, to help raise equity needed to acquire and fund the renovations. We also find the deals and have those really great relationships with the lender and the broker. And we just work with everybody else on the team to make sure that the deal is structured correctly, to make sure that what we think the profits will be are favorable for the investors. Like, we also advocate on behalf of the investors. And so we just really, really make sure that we can grow your investor capital, because that is the most important part. We also work on asset management, which is everything that happens after the property closes. And that is exactly why I am here, because I'm also part of the asset management team. It's just a huge blessing, I would actually say, to be a part of Adventurous Real Estate Investors. Like, just from my end, like, I am so happy that we took the leap and decided to be general partners, just because the impact that we're making on the communities is huge. And that is one of the most amazing things to see transform in these apartment communities. Like, I love seeing them grow and thrive, especially from seeing where they came from. So I hope that this all made sense. Again, I went over some roles and responsibilities, which included the real estate broker, the lender, the general partners, the key principals, the passive investors, the property manager, and then Adventurous Real Estate Investors. So if you like this content, please like it below, and then remember to ring that bell so that you get notified every time Michael or I put out new content. So I hope you all have a fabulous day, and we will see you back for another video soon. Until next time, explore more, adventure awaits. Woo!